What's up guys, back with another Fox Guide Fallout mods. In this episode in particular, I'm picking up where I left off a few months back. You see, the last Fox Guide I was working on was actually a compilation video on 3 weapon mods, all doing their own spin on the classic Wattz 2000 rifle from Fallout 1. Now the sad part and why I initially wanted to do the video was because there was a lot of crap being put on the mod creators for daring to make another version of the same weapon, and some even claimed that one copied the other despite having completely different models. Either way, time got away from me, but now I'm ready to finally play around with all of them and see the pros and cons of each. So with that said, let's get started. Starting off, we have the Wattz 2000 Laser Carbine by Necroix. Our first interpretation of this particular weapon incorporates some assets from the base game's laser rifle while mixing some original meshes into it. The original parts have decent texturing, but you can notice which parts are from the base game and which are original, but overall a nice looking rifle. The gun has a base energy damage of 68, which is 10 more than a standard charging laser rifle, and has a chance to spawn whenever said laser rifle can. Its modifications are pretty standard, the vanilla system with the exception of having an empty muzzle category. The weapon can be turned into an assault rifle, a sniper rifle, or a shotgun, and even has a modification that gives it a more Raider style look. As a bonus, the mod comes with a second weapon, the Wattz 1000 pistol, also from Fallout 1. It has far less customization options, but I think that's fine. The weapon has a base energy damage of 37 compared to the base laser pistol's damage of 24. The weapon uses a unique ammo type called small energy cells, but can be modified to use standard fusion cells, and is a bit inaccurate. Okay, it's very inaccurate, but all in all, it's a good package, but the customization sets do feel a bit weird to me, and keep in mind if you are used to scripted level list integration, this weapon does not have it. Next up, we have the Wattz 2000 Laser Rifle by AbrazCo by bOMKHA, and I must say, you were the chosen one! Months ago when I first installed this mod, I felt out of the 3 it had the best potential, but so far it has failed to fix core issues with the weapon and in some ways actually added new bugs. The weapon is a chargeable rifle with many modifications, including some that manipulate how fast the weapon can charge, but the version I installed is bugged so it no longer shows you how far the weapon has charged, making it harder to use than it should. On top of that, certain scopes are badly aligned, forcing you to aim slightly off in order to hit the target. Despite all this, the weapon is easy to use simply because it deals almost as much damage as a railway rifle. The visuals on this one are pretty bad despite having a completely original model. It's just the gun is pretty low poly in areas and more importantly has very blurry and low res texture work. Finally, the weapon is included in level lists via script and even has unique variants placed in the world, so that is very nice. Our last Wattz rifle is the Wattz 2000 Laser Rifle by TrinityTest, and it is a big boy, just look at that. But if you're okay with using the Institute laser, then you will be right at home with this one. Visually, the model is a bit plain, but the texturing is the best out of all the rifles. As far as stats go, it's pretty good. The weapon has a base damage of 50, so a little bit less than a spec'd out laser rifle, but by changing the barrel you can increase the damage to 110, which is equivalent to the Gauss rifle. The barrel changing the damage is a bit weird, but aside from that, the weapon has the standard modifications available. Finally, much like the previous laser rifle, the mod features both scripted level list injection and a unique variant placed in the world. Now, before I do my final comparison, I still have 2 bonus mods to cover that just improve the visual effect of using any sort of laser weapon. Cross Crit Gore-verhaul by Niero is a great mod for getting more bang for your buck when killing enemies with energy weapons. Normally, they either get horribly burned when killed with fire damage or turn into a pile of goop / dust when killed with basically any other type of energy weapon. But with this mod, the newly created corpses will now have their skin dissolved off, leaving a skeleton with the weapons inside the skeleton, making a lot more sense from a lore standpoint. And with the in-game holotape, you can customize whether the effects have a random proc chance like vanilla Fallout 4, or you can have them have a 100% chance to activate. And for the last mod, we have Extreme Particles Overhaul by Max G3D, and it changes many of the particle effects in the game, but most noticeably the sparks made when the player shoots at a wall and the visual effects of energy weapons in general. This is a really good mod if you like a lot of color or flair in your FPS, and combat now gives more of a visual spectacle, and is particularly amazing at night or in dark areas. Since it only changes NIF files, the mod is super compatible, and if you forego the INI changes, should not have much of an effect on performance. The only weird thing is the version I played around with causes the Molotovs to lose their explosive feel, though to some that might be an improvement. All in all, this mod is just one of those install and forget mods because it's super compatible and gives Fallout some much needed flair in the combat department. Finally, my opinion on the 3 guns. Initially I was hoping bOMKHA's weapon would be my pick, but despite waiting several months to make this video, the weapon did not get the updates I hoped for and still feels a bit unfinished. So instead I give it to the TrinityTest rifle, though mainly because Jake Necroix lacks scripted levelist integration, which I think the standardization of is one of the best advances in Bethesda modding. It does help that the TrinityTest rifle has a complete unique model with great texturing, but including the second weapon in Necroix mod was nice. Anyways, that's just my thought. Leave a comment on your opinions on these mods, which ones you think did the Wattz 2000 laser rifle the most justice, and I'll see you guys next time.